Last time in our introduction, we kind of painted the big backdrop for understanding the story of Corinth and Paul's encounter with the Christian community in Corinth. And we looked at the backdrop is that it's the time of the Roman Empire, the Pax Romana. This is the height of the Empire of Rome, which was consolidated by Caesar Augustus, who was the Caesar at the time of Jesus' birth. And Caesar Augustus declares himself basically as the Son of God, that is the son of his adopted father Julius Caesar, who he had the Senate vote as a god. And once the Roman Senate voted Julius Caesar as a god, then Augustus said, well, guess what? He was my father, so that makes me the Son of God. And so Caesar Augustus claimed to be the Son of God. And all over the Roman Empire, in cities just like Corinth, he had temples built in honor of himself and his royal family. So we saw that this backdrop of the Roman Empire ruling the world, claiming divinity, is a backdrop for this Greek culture where we found people who grew up in this Greek culture like Saul, a Jew who grows up in the eastern part of the Roman Empire in a city called Tarsus. And then we also saw a man named Spartacus, who's from Corinth, a Greek. But he has also these adopted Roman names, Gaius and Julius. So his full name being Gaius Julius Spartacus. So we see how it's a Greek culture, Greek philosophy, Greek language. The Greek language is the language of the Roman Empire. And yet, in the official government, Latin is the official ruling language, but the language of the people, the language of the arts, the language of the intellectuals is Greek. So it's quite a fluid culture, Roman, Greek, and yet you have all these diverse peoples and their own religious backgrounds, of which Paul represents. And to understand this world, we've got to see the Roman emperor and the Roman Empire and the Roman imperial ideology of their being divine in the backdrop. Then we see a Greek city like Corinth. And let me say a little bit more about Corinth, because what's fascinating about Corinth and what makes it such a great study for us is that Corinth, as a major urban city in this very thriving time economically and socially, is a lot like the major cities of the West today. Just like any major American city, just like New York or Boston or San Francisco or San Diego or Chicago. In these big urban cities, you have everything. Major restaurants, food, arts, sports centers. Well, guess what? Corinth had a major theater for the sports and the arts and for drama. In fact, later on, after the time of Paul, in fact, it'll be the emperor who actually has Paul martyred, Nero, will go to Corinth to perform in plays and dramas at the theater in Corinth, and to oversee the famous sporting events, the Isthmian Games in Corinth. So here we have the city of Corinth, which has a theater for the arts, drama, plays, entertainment, because the Greeks in this culture loved entertainment. They were an entertainment culture. Hard to imagine such a thing. But not only were they an entertainment culture, but part of that entertainment included sports, as I mentioned before, the Isthmian Games, the second most famous games. And so these sporting events were very dominant in Corinth. In fact, the Isthmian Games happened every 2 years in the city of Corinth. And when that happened, the city almost quadrupled in size, because everybody from all over the Roman Empire who could come in for that event would. In fact, we're told from ancient sources that a giant tent city would evolve all around the city of Corinth to house all the people and the contestants for these great sporting events.